Okay, we're live again. Good afternoon or
Okay,
good
cool.
evening, Coach C. This is
Good
our
evening.
mentor call for Standard 2.
Okay. All right.
Happy
Standard
Easter, by
two.
the way.
Gotcha. Once again, thank you again for letting me observe your class. Standard two is a very important standard. It's on learning differences. I'm gonna quickly go down the four standards that I assessed. One was valuing students. The other one was differentiated instruction. Ability to touch students with learning disabilities or needs. And then the fourth one was ELL, which is an not necessarily one that's tapped into as much as in physical education, but you
hmm
did tap into that with a lot of call and response and check for understanding with your directions. If you don't mind, I want to go through a few of my like grows and glows. The
Okay,
glows are the things that you did really well that I liked, and the grows are like suggestions. This is just like a platform that I'm practicing myself, just
gotcha.
on how to reflect and give good feedback. So some of the glows that I saw were having the students show their level of understanding by like repeating the directions and using call and response, which was a great idea when teaching outdoors. You know, that maximizes like the student understanding
hmm
and focus just in case one of the students didn't hear the directions due to the noise. And I know it was a lot of wind going on out there, but everyone knew what was going on. During the ball toss race game, you were really quick on your feet, and I even saw that you added the direction to help with student understanding. You added the direction of kneeling after you tossed the ball to a classmate,
hmm
and that made the game run much more smoothly than it would if like all the students were standing. And I know that they were going to cross their arms at first, but you added that in there just on the fly because I don't know whether you noticed some students will probably play around with it because you had some goofy kids in there,
Yes, I
not
did.
kids that are necessarily bad, but there's some
hmm
goofy kids in there, which is you want. That could be a good and a bad thing.
Right.
Um, I liked how you asked the students how long they thought it would take for them to complete the game,
hmm
instead of you just giving them a time, and that tapped into their critical thinking skills, and also them giving like an ownership, and that taps into valuing students also. I also liked how, what's my notes? You asked them different ways how they could be successful, such as like tossing the ball underhand as opposed to tossing overhand through the wind. Um, Using the tic tac toe, it looked really good. I liked how you did it with and it's cool because a lot of teachers are starting to do that,
hmm
and you actually did it a little bit better than I've seen other teachers do it because you utilized a lot of different movements. You did the speed walking, skipping, crawling, and then jogging backwards. And I even heard students towards the end ask if they could crab walk. And viewing the lesson, they got more into it throughout the different options of different movements that they were doing. So I
Right.
can tell you kind of listen to the feedback I gave you last time on just giving the students multiple opportunities to be successful.
hmm
So that was really good. Um, just kind of going into my scores uh, with the valuing students, I gave you a 3,
Okay.
because you definitely showed, you had them express how the activity made them feel and how it takes a team to complete not only just the tic tac toe game but all of the different games. And I even saw towards the end, there was one student that didn't feel like she was being successful. You even had them give them high fives, and you redirected, even though that takes extra time. You definitely had them move out of the line and come back in just to understand how important it is to value every student
hmm
within the team. Differentiated instruction, you tapped into multiple intelligences. You had students not necessarily running, but speed walking, skipping, crawling, and then going backwards. That just gave people multiple opportunities to be successful. And it kind of had all the students understand that they could be successful in doing different things. Because I saw
Right.
people enjoy different things more than others. Um, Students learning with different differences and needs. They ensure that all students understood and completed the activity by using like call and response. And towards the end, you also use clarifying questions,
hmm
which was awesome. And I know that I made a note of it. Some of the students might not be as comfortable answering questions at the end of
hmm
physical education class, but once you make that a routine, like the students will be prepared to really critically think during PE, like why are we doing this? Because she's gonna ask, why are we doing this? So that they could be prepared for like Q&A towards the end. So
Okay.
that was a big thing also. Um, and for ELL, I gave you a 4,
Okay.
even though you didn't necessarily break down like the pronunciation of any of your words, of any like your key vocabulary that you were using, such as like skipping or crawling or anything like that.
Hmm.
You went over the directions, you used call and response, how to pronounce everything. So believe it or not, you were doing some ELO work at the same time without even knowing it. So that was a good
Nice.
thing too. So three for valuing students, three for differentiating instruction, three for students with learning students with learning differences of needs, and the four for ELL. I did give one suggestion if I can find it. Oh, with the sequence touch, I really like that game, and I almost thought you were gonna go into something that I thought of, but you didn't. It was great how you had you just gave them a pattern,
Hmm.
like the different color schemes to touch on the playground or on the blacktop, and they had to touch it and go to home base. I was thinking of something just to push it even more, have the students like split up into small groups. But I don't know if you know that class better than me, so I don't know if they could have handled this. Have the students split up into small groups and then devise their own color scheme for the
Okay.
class to try to like, and then like they can tell the class, so like group A can come up with, all right guys, we came up with red, blue, green, then home base. Then they all
Nice.
try it, and then another group try a different thing so that they can kind of like give feedback on which was the most difficult or least difficult and why. Because that like increased student ownership and critical thinking, that's huge in DCPS. They
Mm.
always want to like push critical thinking, push student-led activities, which was a great setup for what you did, but just to push a little bit further, next time if you ever want to do that again, that activity again, I know that'd be something huge. But like you know better than I do, only classes who can handle that can do that. So it all depends on the class. That might be tougher to do at Turner, but that might be easier with that group of students that you had if you have a class that small to do something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's all I had though. You know, just a good work. Definitely, I can see you looking at the feedback, and I like it. It sucks that video got erased though. Yeah,
Oh, I'm so
that's tough.
disappointed. But we
Yeah,
we got through it. I think more than anything from what I had in the other videos, I
yeah.
saw I had which was gave me an opportunity to re-record it and also re-emphasize some things. So I had one gentleman that was on crutches from a soccer incident. So I had him
Uh,
be my timer since he couldn't necessarily run or anything during
nice.
the
Okay.
activity. And then also he was also the judge for the teams that won. And then I
Okay.
had another student, I believe he suffers with dwarfism. So he's kind of like really like he's a small guy.
Uh-huh.
So having the different modifications of crawling and crab walk allowed him to be
Mm,
successful. And even I had some other people out there who modified, who gave him a little bit of like a head start so that he can be successful as well. But he was included with the other children who had no physical disabilities, and he wasn't necessarily outcasted. So if anything from those videos, that's what I kind of wanted to showcase, being able
right.
to find different ways to have those students involved without making them feel like they can't, like they have the option. Like my guy in the crutches, he was trying to reset and get the stuff back, and just kind
Right.
of like being my helper until he's healthy again. But I really just want to make sure that I have no excuses, no matter what the disability is, that I
Right.
find something for them to do.
It gets really tough in PE also. I'm not sure if you ran into this issue yet. Like you remember Melissa?
Yes.
See, Melissa is definitely that's a weekly challenge for me because
Mhm.
she's not as mobile,
Right.
and for her to like actually speed up her walk and she needs help.
Mhm.
So it's one of those situations where you really have to like tap into your critical thinking skills just for that 45 minutes
Mhm.
once a week when you have students like that. Melissa's like my toughest anomaly at this point.
Right.
So with her class, I always have to either match her with a partner or kind of make sure she has some type of help or some type of modification of the activity. And I
Mhm.
also before the activity starts have to explain why she gets that modification to the rest of the class. So they
Exactly.
think that she's not cheating. So that's just
Mhm.
it's really good practice to try to like make it like no excuse because you're gonna be put in a situation with students unless you have like a separate adapted PE class, and every
Mhm.
every school doesn't do it like that. Where you're gonna have students who are wheelchair users, who might have a form of cerebral palsy. Like it's it's
Mhm.
it's it's tough getting students to move. It's already tough getting them to do their work, but getting them to move and then
Mhm.
understand why they're doing certain things. It's a tough thing. So that's good that you're starting off like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to give them the don't quit attitude as well, because you remember Josiah as well, who was on a walker.
Yeah.
And
I'm
Josiah
just
came to
yeah.
every class like he was normal, like the walker meant nothing to him.
Yep. He had
So
great attitude. Yeah.
yeah, if we handicap them, they're going to continue to handicap themselves throughout life. So I definitely
Yeah.
try to include no matter what it is. Um, but I want to thank you for your time once again.
Oh, no
Um,
problem.
I do have a video for next week, even though it is spring break. But we can speak about
Okay.
that later on this
Oh
week.
no, I'm available. I'm here,
Okay,
so it's not a problem. Yeah.
awesome. So I'll shoot you that information, and also coming up next, I believe for next week we have our mentor video, and I believe your first formal evaluation for me as well.
Cool.
That's coming up, but I'll give you more information when we speak about that later.
Okay. All right.
Enjoy your spring break, and happy Sunday.
You too. Oh, let me know if you need help cleaning out that closet too. I'm available. I can give you at least one day.